All right, so the Ravens will practice later today. We'll get a little bit more clarity on that. But if you are Baltimore, if you are Harbaugh and trying to make this decision, how would you approach this Week 18 game, Peter, against the Steelers?
It's the Steelers.
Okay.
That's where the one thing is different than if they were playing a random team or a team that didn't need anything. It's the Steelers. As Baltimore Ravens, are you going to let the Steelers backdoor into the playoffs? Because all the Steelers need is for the Dolphins to beat the Bills and then a Steelers win, and then they're in. And then the Steelers are the 7th seed. And guess what? If the Steelers are the 7th seed, beat the 2 seed, whether that's Miami or whoever, guess who they play the next round, divisional round? That's the Ravens.
Yeah.
You just let your arch rival Steelers come into the playoffs. Now suddenly would be a team that has 4 straight wins, just beat the number 2 seed in their building, coming in with a head full of steam, facing you in your building, which has not exactly been the place that everyone fears to go in the playoffs of late. And you're doing it because you let them in Week 18. And you let them in because you said, it means nothing to us. That would also mean they had swept the Ravens in the regular season. The Steelers beat the Ravens earlier this year. Kenny Pickett hitting George Pickens along the sideline. I put all this out there because the Ravens could just end the Steelers season. You beat the Steelers, they're done. And guess what? We did it to you. Harbaugh did it to Tomlin. Or they could play this smart and say, well, you rest your starters because, God forbid, you get another injury, and then you'd be kicking yourselves the rest of the offseason. It's fascinating. Here's the truth of the matter. Ravens will rest players. I would be shocked if we see Lamar Jackson. I would be shocked if we see Kyle Hamilton. I'd be shocked if we see guys like Roquan and Patrick Queen. Their backup, Tyler Huntley, he was a Pro Bowler last year.
Damn right he was.
Pretty good.
Damn right.
They've got a bunch of guys who probably need a little rest here and there, but I don't think you lay down and just say, all right, have this one, go for it. We're not going to injure anybody. Look, this is our 6th-string tight end. I say you try to win that game.
Okay.
And Tyler Huntley play the best game he possibly can because eventually you're going to be a free agent and you're going to say, hey, this is my tape. I did it at a Pro Bowl season 2 years ago, and look what I did in Week 18. I beat the Steelers, knocked them out. Last year, the Lions had nothing to play for in Week 18. Totally different situation. Their season was going nowhere. The Ravens' case, they have nothing to play for because their season is already set. And they upset the Packers and beat the Packers and broke their division rivals' hearts. Yeah. I don't want to see the Ravens just lie down and say, just take it. I'd like to see the Ravens go out there and try to beat the Steelers, A, for competitive reasons, but B, if you're a Ravens fan, you don't want to see that logo possibly lingering and coming into your building in the second round of the playoffs.
Who has a backup quarterback that was a Pro Bowler last year? Was he on Team Eli or Team Peyton? I don't
wasn't
Adam
there.
Lawrence, look it up. Snoop Huntley, which team was he on the flag
Wasn't
football
that
game?
also Snoop Dogg and somebody else? Was
What Pete what's his name?
Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Right.
And was he on Davidson or on Snoop's team? I love that we're here. The season is bookended by in August. How much should starters play in the preseason? And we have arrived at rest versus rust. We made it. It's a great time of year. The elephant in the room is the 2019 Ravens. 2019 Ravens, lest you forget, were a 14-2 team that were the story of the league. Big trust, and Mark Ingram and Lamar is wrapping up an MVP campaign like he is now. It wasn't like this year where for half the year it was the Niners and Eagles. It was Ravens from start to finish. Last game of the season, guess who they're playing? The Steelers. Last game of the season. Lamar doesn't play, Ingram doesn't play, Andrews doesn't play, Marshall Yanda doesn't play, and who cares what happens in the game? The problem is that then they have their nice little bye, and then they have this kind of like feisty, motivated Titans team that comes in, and Harbaugh's been talking about it all yesterday at length, comparing the 2019, and he's all around it. If you look through it through the lens of 2019, we didn't play better. They've done the thing where they rested him, didn't even dress him, anything. Titans show up. Jason, what happened to that incredible Ravens team that day against the Titans team I'm sure they just ran through?
Oh, my goodness. The Tennessee Titans, remember, they beat the Patriots, and they came in rolling. I think Derrick Henry is still running down the sideline.
And throwing.
Oh, my goodness. I remember him pushing Earl Thomas in the back 18 times.
That was that game. They smacked them.
Rolled on them.
This is the one. So this team, you might say this team was a better Ravens team than this one. I mean, this was unbelievable. And I think we all remember where we were. They just got smacked. They showed up with nothing. Derrick Henry's throwing passes. He's throwing defenders from start to finish. So is there a scar tissue? Is there a, hold on a second. Let's maybe handle ourselves a little bit differently because Corey Davis is lighting us up in the back of the end zone.
Thomas and Marcus Peters just had a long
Unbelievable.
If I'm not mistaken.
So they've been through it. They've had the hotshot team with the MVP quarterback. They rested, and they were flat in this game at home in the castle. Do you play people more? My answer to that is hell no. Get them off the field. Not a chance. Listen, we are in the wake of this terrible Bradley Chubb injury, and I think for the first time, maybe Mike McDaniel is taking some heat about what was he doing out there. No bleeping way am I having any of those linebackers. No Zay Flowers, no Odell, nobody. Sit down, play the odds. The injuries are too dangerous, too scary. The team's too good.
Does it matter that it's the Steelers?
I mean, I know what you're saying. If you're the Ravens, isn't there a party that, like, the Steelers can get in the playoffs, fine, we'll see them. We got business with them. Like, we're not, if this run comes to an end because Mason Rudolph beats us at home, then we shouldn't be in there anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Yeah.
I get your point, too, but we'll see.
To your point, that game in 2019, they beat the Steelers in that last game, and RG3 was the starting quarterback against Duck Hodges.
That was RG3 versus Duck?
Yes, they won that game. They figured out a way. So
RG3 should still be starting. That's what I hear, right?
Let's
go.
go.
Come on, Rob.
Still 440. I think he was racing an Eagle the other week, and he was absolutely rolling. But to your point, I don't think you play the stars. If anything, the only thing you do is maybe during the week of practice, you change up what you did of the starters getting some reps and continue to work on their game in preparation for what's coming. But I do think you put in Snoop Huntley and all of those guys and let them go. But your game plan, you're gonna play this game to win just with your backup players. And everything that went on in 2019, there's still players on that team. So I think you still learn from your experience. You have guys like a Michael Pierce or a Ronnie Staley or Lamar Jackson stand up in front of the room and talk about what they did that week and the things that they would change to change this year from that year. So I think you do still rest the stars, but now you have the experience of what you went through that time.
Okay, but to pull a pair from the Harbaugh decision-making tree, a parallel could be is that in 2017, the Ravens fly to London on the Thursday night to Friday morning flight, okay? They spend the 48 hours. Kickoff happens against the Jaguars. They get blown out by the Jaguars, 44-7 in this game against London. Years later, this fall, the Ravens get assigned a London game. John Harbaugh says, I'm going to do the exact opposite of everything we did in 2017.
Sure.
2017 was an atrocious coaching experience for him. So he brought the team over Monday night. Actually, Monday day. They land Monday night. The Ravens spent a month, it felt like, in London, and they got a great result out of it. So if you're going off of that logic, maybe he pulls from the headlines of, I didn't like how that went in 2019, and he does the opposite. Kind of reminds me of in the Midwest, you leave your car running for as long as possible in the wintertime because you want to drive comfortably with no jacket on. But if you get stuck in the convenience store for a little bit too long, or if you get talking to your kid's teacher in school pickup a little too long, the car gets cold, and you go back in, you're like, dang it, that's too long, and I had my jacket off, whatever. 2 weeks is a long time to not play football. It feels a little uncomfortable. I get it, it's been 18 weeks, but
This is the old, Kyle said rest versus rust. This was a really big deal with Peyton Manning's teams.
Yeah.
They would always destroy everyone. And
they would destroy everybody. They would rest the final 3 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they would lose in the opening round, or they would struggle, and it would be like, well, rest versus rust. We haven't had that much since they went to the 7-team playoffs because it's so competitive for that one seed. And yet, both teams, the 49ers and the Ravens, they're in the same exact spot all those teams were all those years before where how do you stay, to your point, car running, motivated, let's go, while the rest of the league is kind of having to play for everything for 2 straight weeks?
That Ravens-Titans game is scary.
It is.
To see that could happen that badly.
You're just so banged up.
The Titans also were coming in with momentum, so they had just upset the Patriots in New England. Whoever plays the Ravens is going to have just upset the Dolphins or the Bills in their
It's the double-edged sword of a bye, is that you get the reward of a week off and playing a team that is surging and believing themselves that just had a massive wild card win. But you get a week off because you're the best team. Handle business. Most
to your
times they
point,
do.
you mentioned the preseason. Is it a sense where it's like maybe we go play our stars for the first quarter so that they get some football in them, and then we get them out
Patriots
as
used to
soon
do
as
that.
possible?
Brady would start the first quarter, and a lot of those
go through
weekends,
pregame. You're going through a
right,
practice week where on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday you're still preparing for the game. So even mentally you're still in. If you're in the week and you know I'm not playing, it's just like, all right, I'm not turning any Steelers film on. I can't watch the next opponent because we don't know who we're going to play next. So it leaves you in limbo as a player of that usual structure from a day-to-day, week-to-week that you've built your routine on. So maybe playing a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Beat the Steelers and get a lion spike for it.
It's interesting you made that parallel to the 49ers. It's like, it's cool that it's Rams, 49ers, it's Steelers, Ravens. These are heated hatred battles that have to, of course, exist in Week 18. For the Steelers to get into the playoffs, they, of course, need to beat the Ravens either. The Bills or the Jags need to lose on Sunday. So they need a few more cards to fold, if you will. Despite a full practice designation for Kenny Pickett yesterday, Mike Tomlin has already announced that Mason Rudolph will get the start at quarterback against Baltimore. There was some curious stuff that came out of Pittsburgh yesterday off the radio airwaves, if you will, that like Kenny Pickett was healthy and then he defended himself. And the point is, it's Mason Rudolph. How do we feel if you were a Steelers fan about Mason Rudolph at quarterback at the helm, Jason, with your season on the line?
Are you excited? Mason Rudolph has just won back-to-back games. He's playing well, and I think you don't have to look any further than George Pickens. Before Mason Rudolph got in the lineup, we're talking about George Pickens not blocking and different things of that nature. Since Mason Rudolph has been quarterback these last 2 games, George Pickens has 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is 2 hell of a weeks. He's making tremendous catches. He's smiling on the sideline. The vibe in Pittsburgh just seems amazing right now with him at the quarterback. He has the hot hand. He's on fire to pull from NBA Jam. You keep him in there and you let him go. Kenny Pickett may be the quarterback of the future. He may not be. But for right now in the present, with an opportunity to get into the playoffs, Mason Rudolph has led this team the best. He's the quarterback.
Hear me out. We've done a month of, can Joe Flacco be the comeback player of the year, despite only playing 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Can Mason Rudolph be the comeback player of the year, despite only playing 3 weeks? Mason Rudolph was once benched for the aforementioned Duck Hodges midway through a game. Duck Hodges replaced Mason Rudolph years ago on the same team. Yet he's hung around, signed contract, came back and was like, I'll be the 3rd string. What? Mason Rudolph was a starter for this team years ago.
I forgot he was on the team.
Years, a lot of people did. He was 3rd string. They brought back Trubisky and Rudolph and have a rookie quarterback and Pickett last year. It was crazy.
How dated does this sound? Prior to this season, Rudolph's last start, he started for Ben Roethlisberger because Ben was out with COVID. Like, that's the last start.
one?
Yeah, like, but prior to this year.
3 years ago.
It's unbelievable thing.
Still there, and there's another guy in front of him, Trubisky, who's still there, who they brought in last year. So, yeah,
Need him to come back.
This is a great story, and the fact that Tomlin's been with him the whole way through, he must have been giving him confidence in the players. They know him. It's working.
Yeah.
769 days between starts for him. The same.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of days.
It's a lot.
He still looks good. Rest
He
your
does.
starters.
Yep.
He looks great.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like the people's quarterback right now. He's absolutely beloved. Kenny Pickett's the scrappy guy from Pitt who everybody loves, and all of a sudden it's like, give me Rudolph. Rudolph? You guys have been making dumb helmet jokes for him for about 3 years, and now you want him? Yeah.
The headline I read, from undesirable to undeniable.
Totally. Because
Mason
with Kenny
Rudolph.
Pickett at the helm, it was like pulling teeth to get some offensive spark, and that doesn't have to be all Kenny Pickett's fault. But at this point, with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, the Steelers have had more 30-point games than they did with anybody else at quarterback this season. It works. It's working.
Look at, we mentioned the George Pickens thing. Yesterday, we had 2 damn Steelers running backs when angry runs. Like, they're running all over the place.
Yeah.
They look like the best show on turf right now. They're great.
Yes, the emotion out of that. It's thrill
Oh, yeah.
and anger, and it's everything we feel.
Can I add one more nugget?
Yeah.
One more nugget.
What?
Standalone game,
Yeah.
NBC,
Go
4:30,
on.
Steelers-Ravens.
Talk about it.
Brad Allen and the crew. Let's see.